Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Hey everybody, we back again.
We back. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm Spencer, and of course, that's our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Howdy doody. Dr. Nas.
All right. Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. Hey, go shout out to Silver Dollar Candle Company. They have candles. They're great. They're fantastic. They smell good.
Smell good. And they got a lot of cool
Ad.
sayings. Yeah. Ad. Done. There.
Yeah. Use one of our codes DSP or DSP20 to get up to 20% off your entire order. Gives you a discount,
Yeah.
gives them a purchase, gives us some money off the top, off the
Yeah.
tip
Help us out.
off the tippy top. So help support our show by using our code, and then also go check out the link in the description if you don't want to put the code in. If you want it automatically, just click on the link. It'll be in there.
Little touch. You know, everyone likes a little touch. Beep boop.
Depends on where. And with that, we're going to be talking about the Hulu Disney Plus show Echo. Yes. Just came out, 5 episodes. So if you haven't checked it out, go do that. It follows Maya, who was also in Hawkeye. So if you haven't watched Hawkeye, probably go check that out first and then watch this. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So go do that. So some things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about gifts. We're going to be talking about therapy. We're going to be talking about healing.
Needs a healing.
I'm not who you want me to be.
I need you to get there, Spence.
Got it. And also, what did you do to me? What did you do to me?
I mean, I did what you told me to do.
What was that?
A lot of stuff.
Okay, great. So we're going to be talking about that and probably some more topics as they come up, because guess what? Our brains don't work.
They're not normal. They're not
normal.
They call
Anytime anybody comes onto the show, they're like, this was interesting.
They're like, y'all were in a gifted class, weren't you?
How'd you know? How'd you know?
Hey, that bus, I like the small bus.
Gotta love a special class. So with that, Nas, anything before we get into the show?
As folks that are watching it, obviously you can go back and watch Hawkeye. If you're not a big Marvel individual, probably still watch some of it standalone, because they do a little bit of like montaging back, nostalgic, going back into it. Those folks that are trying to learn and like check out some Native folks, Native Americans, pretty cool. Some really cool stuff in there. If you are angry or a lot of trauma, also a good show to check out. Today we'll get into many different things and how we therapeutize those, or how I use those in my practice. Specifically how maybe some of these affected me in watching them, because it was blowing my eyes out. And lastly, I'm going to put a trigger warning in for the last scene. So I'll clip it in. I need to do a shorter one. The first one I did was like a minute, 50 minutes, 50 seconds long.
50 minutes.
50-minute
Long
trigger warning.
show.
Hey, it's a whole show. Just the warning.
Trigger. Trigger.
Trigger. But yeah, this is the official warning for that because there's some violence, and then abuse and stuff like that, and fighting and all that is all going on. So, but it should be a wonderful show. It's going to be funny, but yet also a little bit serious because we want to, be respectful. All the other pods, fuck you. We get
those are dog shit compared to this.
Hey, people color pods. We're gonna be for real.
Yeah, already going up to that start. Also, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, side tangent.
What?
Super weird. The Martin Luther King Day used to be like 5, 6, 7 games of basketball. There was only 2 on national TV today.
You know the drill.
Weird.
Also, because I think football is happening too.
Could be because football.
So I think they're like, you know what? We're not gonna put overload with games on national television because we already know that football is going to be
dominate.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
But yeah, shout out to all the activists, social justice warriors, Martin Luther King family, and all the supporters behind him throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So, all right, let's get into the pod. Let's have some fun. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
And cancel.
And it's over. It's all over.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna do that like throughout the pod multiple times. So respect.
Hey, this is your co-host Spencer, and I'm bringing you a special message from our collaborator, Silver Dollar Candles. They have great scents to go with great messages, just like Best Dad Ever, True Crime and Chill, and my personal favorite, When This Candle Is Lit, Give Me That. You can also make your own candle and message that fits you. So go use our link in our link tree to get your order placed with Silver Dollar Candles today.
Connection. When your mother was killed, my heart shattered. I wanted to die. And no, not you. Your mother. I was angry. I couldn't bear to be around you. There was so much alike. And I think generations are echoing. Reaching out to us at a time when we need them most. What did you do yourself?
How'd that go?
to do to get there.
I am not who you want me to be! What did you just do? What did you do? Huh? What did you do?
Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about our new collaborator, Toink Toys. They have a wide selection of, you guessed it, toys and other great collectibles. They have products from Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, and everything pop culture. You could say they put the toy in Toink. So go check them out at toink.com and use our code Different Spectrums Podcast to get 10% off your entire order today.
And we're back again.
We're back. We're back and we're live. This is live as a hot pocket that burns you at the roof of your mouth. Pretty live, pretty hot. Hey, them hot pocket burns be the worst. It'd be the worst.
Anyways, welcome back to the show.
Hey, welcome back.
Oh, God. Before we get into it, Nas, what's up with your shirt? What's going on with that?
You know, I think it's a classic. It's like little. Man, I got so much shit right here. Can you see it?
It's good. Talk off mic, jackass.
It looked like a bunch of chickens got stuck in some glow sticks and then ran out my shirt.
I think they're crows, but
Oh,
maybe
crows.
not.
Chicken crows. That was Big Bird.
Racism.
Big Bird has sex on my shirt.
Well, it looked like he left a mess afterwards.
Hey, at least someone's having sex. Burned myself.
Yeah, good job. I got him. You're just pointing at a mirror. Just got him.
Fucker's back there mocking me, son of a bitch.
Good. So what is Echo? Right. Follows Maya, who is under the wing of Kingpin for a long time. And yep. God, so stupid. People who are listening, now just put up the
fist.
Yeah, the fist. After I said Kingpin. And,
Solidarity.
Yeah, solidarity for Kingpin. We'll free him. So Maya, as we know, is Native American. Choctaw, to be fully in there. It's a great show because I think that gives off a lot of representation, not only for those that are Native American, but then also for those who are deaf, and then also people who also have a disability, because the real actor is also missing her leg. So
I was going to ask you that. So was she actually deaf, or was she actually missing a leg?
yeah, she's really deaf. She's both.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
giving a lot of representation there. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
And as we know, a lot more Native Americans have been able to get like their own shows and stuff like that. As we've seen in our Res Dogs episode.
Res Dogs.
If you want to go check that out.
Check it out. Meditation.
It's actually pretty awesome seeing how there's a lot more representation of Native Americans in popular media. You know, Yeah. So we follow Maya. As like I said, she was under Kingpin's wing for a long time, and then she finds out that Kingpin killed her father. And so then
Oh,
she shoots him in the eye in Hawkeye.
right in the
And
face.
yeah, but he's alive. He took that bullet like a champ.
Can never kill white people.
Never. They're always alive,
They're
no
like
matter what.
roaches. Not saying they are, but just say they never die. You know,
It's,
I'll get cancer.
yep.
Yep.
You're a dumbass.
Hey.
You just keep on digging that hole, don't you? You
Yep.
just
Wonder why I can't get no job.
Exhibit A. Let's replay this. No, put the fist down. Down. Just down. Just down. Uh, um, I think one of my favorite parts of the show in general is just I like the music in it.
Yes.
They had a lot of great music, a lot of Native American artists that actually came into the show and did a lot of songs for them. So I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. They're keeping to that theme. Um, but yeah, and that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, we'll get into like the other details as we kind of go along. Um, but so let's talk about what was your favorite part of the show, Nas? What was your favorite
The favorite part would be the second scene
part? Ooh,
that we're gonna show or that we did show. Overall, the theme of
why
just
don't we?
go ahead.
Oh yeah, go for it. No, go for
I
it.
was just saying overall the theme is you're right. It's this person that, looks up to her father like figure that,
Hmm.
trained her, raised her, made her strong, gave her father a job. And, now she's, killing people for him and she looks up to him, role model, all this and that, right? She's pretty much the queen bee or the queen pin, she says later in the show. Uh,
Hmm.
and, obviously things change. She finds out that he kills her father and things get weird. And obviously she kills him. She hates him. And then he does some mind games later on in the show. But there's just one point in time where she goes, you isolated me. And he's like, no, I didn't do that, right? It was just me and you. It's all we got. Of course, she had many other people in her life. But he's so good at isolating people, make you think you got no one, right? He's really good at the sociopath that he is.
Hmm.
And we talked about sociopathy and narcissism in a previous pod on Renfield, with Nicolas Cage, where he plays a vampire. So he's good at doing that job. So I thought the parallels with his sociopathy, but also like this love and care and how technically maybe Fist was a good guy because he's got all this trauma, right? I mean, I don't know. But the second scene makes it seem like maybe he's got a shot.
Yeah. Well, and then also with that, one of the scenes that we didn't show was when he like had Sunday dinner with Maya. That was also very like manipulative, being like,
Always.
"Oh, these are your favorite cookies. So, this great wine and stuff,"
Yeah.
and just goes to show that he's trying to like buy
Mhm.
her love, because that's might be the only way that he actually can love is with like power and money.
Yep.
Since he obviously and I wish I could say that also, but then he does have a wife and things like
He
that.
does
So
care. Vanessa, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, I love you gotta love. I think it was it Vincent D. Onfrio, I think something like that, and he's been fantastic ever since starting to play Kingpin.
Yep.
Probably one of the best live action versions of Kingpin. There's only been like a few,
Yeah.
but so far he's been the best, especially when it comes to kind of seeing that traumatized
Young boy.
child and then seeing that be in such like a huge body,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah. I did like he was bigger in the older Daredevil series. And then he lost
yeah,
some weight, so good for him. And then so now they got him like in this bodysuit to make him look bigger
yeah,
and stronger, but still wonderful.
yeah,
Um,
oh yeah,
so that the main thing is his dynamic and all the trauma that he's going through. Then the other most awesome thing about it, which is the first scene, is
mhm,
not only the heritage, but this spiritual connection to other folks, to your ancestors. So we're going to do a little pivot and then we're going to go forward. So the pivot is
Mhm.
we did the episodes on Res Dogs where we talked about ancestral like powers, praying, meditation. That was a wonderful episode that we did. I forgot who the guest was for that. It might have been Vicky, might have been someone else.
Mhm.
And right, it's when she's praying. And when she's praying, she feels like the whole community, everyone coming to like help her and support her. So that's what we're talking about in the show is right, that echo and that reverberation. I guess I didn't really think about it until we rewatched the scenes. It's their ancestors echoing through. Right? I didn't know that. I was like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And what they got these four like individuals, and you see little snippets of them throughout the show. So Spence, what are the four individuals or the four gifts that they talked about?
So the four gifts are love, ferocity, cunning, and then also strategy.
Strategy. Those are wonderful things to have. Most of us do have them. Some of us ain't that good at them. But you got them. I think as life moves, things happen, right? We tend to be better at some than others. Maybe as you may go through more pain, you're not the best at loving because you kind of shut that part down so you don't get hurt. So maybe get better at being cunning and strategy. Maybe the ferocity comes out, the anger comes out, the hostility comes out. So I think all of us have these gifts, but specifically these folks, I would say specifically folks of color, we tend to like lean on this because you hear about it a lot with black and brown bodies that, you know, this is something that we've been through a lot as a community, as a culture, as an ethnicity, as a people. And don't ever say you can't do anything. Because we know that this shit's in our blood. It's in our DNA. It's in our lineage. There's some badass people behind us, and you're getting ready to be one of the bad motherfuckers going forward. I've said this in therapy. I've used it with many clients. I've used it at big like speeches and presentations. It's just echoes of what others have said. And then I've just piggybacked off of that. When you see like Love, I think Love is her mom, right? Because I mean she's the one, yeah. It's interesting, right? You see the other ones, you know, cunning with taking the shots, and then strategy, trying to beat up that big guy in that game, and and ferocity, just being a badass. And then you see her, the mom, just loving, and I think that's the one that makes you cry because she's like a healer, and everyone wants a healing.
Not the Jesus, though. Not the Jesus.
Everybody wants a healing. And if you're watching this pod, as I emailed someone today, I said, you're watching this, you know, we're therapeutic in this show. Therapeutically, we're giving you education or we're making you laugh. Either way, you getting therapized. So something's going on. You tuning in because all of you kind of enjoy us, our personalities, our humor, blah, 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 our guest. Therapeutic. It's therapeutic. And so that's a healing. So what we're doing is healing folks little by little, and we're normalizing a lot of things, autism, mental health, blah, 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 blah. Why am I going on this? This word echo. It's kind of cool. The things that we do today, Spence, things that we do today will affect tomorrow. Will affect people's lives and minds and entities. This podcast, other podcasts that we join, it affects people. And what does that do? It echoes throughout generations and populations, and it helps. It's a healing. Kind of cool. That's what I thought about when I watched the echo scene. So look at this shit. I mean, also I was sitting there fucking crying because, like, you know, my eyes just like, I want my mother. I don't give a fuck about all these superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Spence, you actually watched this ahead of time. You watched this first. Did you immediately, you're like, oh, we're going to do these scenes, these two scenes? Or were you like, oh, Nas will like these scenes? You're like, oh, Nas a little punk, you're probably going to cry at these? Like, I wonder what you're thinking. Because you're getting good at
all
selecting.
of the above.
There you go. There you go. You're like,
And cue tears.
Yep. You're like, oh, this gonna get nice good.
Yeah, we about to cry. Uh, yeah. I think whenever there's, especially when there's like a climax of any type of, or there's like a peak of any scene, where, especially where like the music comes in and there's like the crescendo of everything.
Yep.
Usually that's my thought process on everything. It's just like, I know this is going to be good.
Yep.
Especially when they talk about some type of healing, because throughout the show, Maya has been neglecting her other family and trying to like push
Yep.
them away,
Yep.
and just, not seeing like her grandma or anything like that, because she's hurt. And so now we finally get to see where, her mom comes in and then actually gets to heal her heart right there. So,
Yep.
um, gotta like that. And then also, I knew that we could always talk about that,
Yep.
in some way, how a mother's love can always heal.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
What was that old Earth, Wind, and Fire song? After the love is gone. Sometimes something right and wrong.
Well, that's the song after the love is gone. So, and copyright.
Damn.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
I
know.
gotcha.
Yeah, damn.
Damn you, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
It makes me think to what we were just talking about. So, right, she goes to the grandma, and the grandma, which we may put that scene in there as a quick prelude into the first main two.
Mhm.
She's hurt, and the love is gone. Her father's gone, right, and her mother's gone. She was taken from her. Is she her cousin, or is that her like sister or
That's her
Bonnie?
cousin. No, that's her cousin.
Cousin.
But they're like sisters.
Yeah, because they're growing up together and all that, playing with each other.
Yeah.
And so everything good that you had in your life was taken. So what does that do? That, like I said, that makes that part of you smaller. And so your ability to love or your want to love, it's just hard, scary. It's why would you put yourself through that possible pain? So you get better at being strategic and you get a little bit meaner. And that helps a lot of folks. And I ain't gonna lie, I lived most of my life like that. And people be like, Nas, that's not how you actually present to me. And I'm like, well, you see the person I want you to see.
Mhm.
Everyone sees the person I want you to see. But the strategist, no one sees that. No, that's just a bunch of fucking clowns up here running around throwing shit at the wall. Yeah. No one sees the strategy. But a lot of folks see the love. They see the love. Some of my friends will see the cunningness or the buffoonery, the thievery. You might see that. No comments. No comments, man. Ferocity, yeah, he doesn't come out to play anymore. So now, but intenseness and being like hyper focused and fixated, right? That ferocity, right? Being in it, that is definitely always there. These are wonderful gifts to have, but when love is gone, oh, watch it. Shit can get weird. So we see that with Maya, and I'm sure many of you at home listening. As we know, folks, mental health issues, bipolar people or schizophrenic people or autistic people, you gotta watch out for them. It's scary. They're killing people and shit. Oh, okay. Or the violent. Oh, okay. That's not true. Actually, the percentages of folks that are violent, it's not mental health folks. It's like the smallest 1%, less than that. But the people getting traumatized exponentially more than the general population spends are folks with mental health issues. And things like different neurodivergence, like autism, ADHD, OCD, stuff like that, everything. They end up being victims of actually violence more often.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm prefacing this and saying that many of you have been through these things. And so if you've noticed that, then maybe the love is gone. How do we get back towards that healing? Well, I assume it's listening to things like this. A lot of things we talked about coping skills, eating, exercise. My big ass was just laying on the floor, just doing yoga a second ago. I sent Spencer a picture. Like, look, my foot's on my nose.
Yeah. That was very sexy.
I like that, didn't you? You like that foot all up in there? Yeah. You can smell it.
Yeah. Like from here. Yeah.
My dad said, "Stop talking about feet on the podcast."
Nope. We're just like Quentin Tarantino. Always gotta have some type of foot fetish in
Hey,
there.
you know, just like Rex Ryan, I ain't never seen a foot I don't like.
Shout out to Rex
Shout out to
Ryan.
Rex Ryan. he
What a
made
guy.
he made the joke the other day about like someone going out of bounds or Kevin Durant. He's like, "That's a toe I don't
Mm.
like." When his foot was on the line when he made that 3-pointer, but it was actually a 2-pointer. The toe you don't like there. I think it was about Kadarius Toney when he was offsides for Kansas City. That's what it was. That's the toe I don't like. The dumbest shit. Sorry, Dad. Sorry.
No, you're not.
I told him the other day, he said, "You want to see a bunch of dumbasses?" He said, "Listen to your podcast."
He's not wrong.
I said, "Hey, me and Spencer are acting as characters. This is an act."
Yeah, this is totally not us.
It's a show. We'll put on a show.
Yeah, we are exaggerating.
Womp womp. So right, those we're talking about gifts and love and all that different things, and how do they correlate with each other, and how can they ebb and flow, and then also making sure that all of you are getting a healing in whatever variations that could be. So I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't expecting. Real quick, I'm gonna kick you a question. Were you expecting the mom to come back? I was not expecting the mom to come back.
Uh, kind of, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, they were talking about how like all these ancestors are just intertwined with one another. And we kept on seeing flashbacks and her hands glowing on all those like then that spiral on her
Yep.
hands. Um, I mean, I kind of saw it coming, especially since we saw the scene where mom healed the bird and
Yep.
everything like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's in any type, I feel like any type of culture where it's a lot more spiritual, like
Yeah.
you're always going to have this scene. I mean, we saw it with Blue Beetle,
Yeah.
right? Spiritual, family, or heritage and culture. Latinos are a lot more religious, and so
Yep. Christian Catholic.
yeah, and so I think we're always going to have that no matter what, because spirituality plays a major part in all of these cultures. So
It does, especially when there's grief. Right, a lot of grief in the show, a lot of trauma, a lot of grief. So you see them coming back, as a healing.
mhm,
But yeah, me and you thought at the same exact time, Blue Beetle. Yep,
mhm,
that's pretty cool. I love that they kept a lot of the cast from Res Dogs in here, and there's a ton of
yeah,
them in here. Obviously,
yeah,
Disney's like, oh, fuck, they won some awards for Res Dogs. You might as well use them for Marvel.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
um, Magnificent. I think the heritage and all that. Marvel can do some shit right, where you watch like DC and Blue Beetle,
Yep.
and you like, man, this how you show our people, dog?
It's just like, wow, George Lopez.
Like, bro, like you could have just got some randos
Wow,
and
grandma shooting a machine gun. Part of the part of the militia. You're
yeah, I'm
just like,
like, I don't know,
why?
man. Hey, that was probably one of the coolest things, sadly.
I'm not saying it wasn't cool. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, just like, of course, the woman, they all gotta have guns and shit,
Yeah, it
shooting
was
people.
interesting. DC,
Yeah,
yeah, they ain't doing it right. And then you see like Black Panther, they did it right on a lot of different things.
yeah.
The time that they
They do
take,
their research.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. It is magnificent. Go watch Res Dogs, folks. We're gonna
Yes.
have to try to have some more Native folks on the podcast moving forward too, because there's a population like other BIPOC ones. It's in BIPOC, Indigenous.
I found a couple therapists
Oh,
that are also part Native American, and so we'll see what they say, see if they come on to the show or not.
yeah.
So
Oh, we're gonna find some.
no,
Because the mental health
we'll
issues,
find you.
we'll find you.
We'll get you.
He's like from Wedding Crashers. I'll find you. I'm not gonna say what scene that was.
Yeah, don't. Won't sit on their toilet the same.
Hey, um, But yeah, the issues with mental health and drugs and alcohol and all this stuff,
Yeah.
mortality rates is pretty bad with Native
Mhm.
folks, and then also Black and brown bodies. But Native folks are like really high up there for being a smaller population. Um, so as we transition into this second scene,
Mhm.
uh, why'd you pick this one?
Well, gotta have anytime Fisk is in the show, you always gotta have a scene with him. All right, yep. Put that fist up. Uh, fist for Fisk.
Yep.
Um, there you go. Uh, Also, I think it was a great metaphor for how, like, even in so a little bit of backstory. If you haven't seen Daredevil, Wilson Fisk is like Marvel bad guy 101, Kingpin. Um, and he was raised with an abusive father who would beat his mother.
Yep.
And then one day, he took a hammer
Hmm.
and killed his father. Right.
Where?
And this was a fact that he didn't really confess to Maya. So I don't know if he like really trusted her because he like no matter even through Daredevil he never told that fact because then he couldn't get anywhere because then he'd just be a murderer instead of like this guy who's powerful and doesn't have like these emotions. Um, and so he tells her like, "Hey, yeah, my father was killed or whatever."
Yep.
And then later on, she finds out that he actually did kill his own father, which was pretty bad because then you find out that Fisk actually killed her father. So
Hmm.
he was like, "We're the same. People killed our fathers," and then all of a sudden, it's just like, "No, not really." Whole time I'm watching, I was like, "No, that's bullshit.
Hmm.
That's bullshit.
But he's a
We know what you did."
good manipulator, man.
He is. But then it's also like it's so tough because when he was a kid, he then killed his abusive father who was beating the shit out of his mom. Like it was bad. Like
Yep.
those scenes in Daredevil,
Bad.
those are some pretty tough scenes to
Yep.
watch. Um and so I couldn't fault him for doing that. I was like, hey,
It
you
happens.
gotta yeah,
Yeah.
it
No,
just finally clicked.
there's a lot of kids that lose their shit and go to
Yeah.
protect their parents. If folks want to see, if folks want to watch a wonderful show and also cry your eyes out,
Mm,
you'll go back and watch This Is Us.
mm,
And right, the main dad, the main character, the star of the show, who ends up passing, and it's all about him. Is they go through the scenes where his dad, is just verbally and physically just abusing the mom and
mhm,
his brother, and then he just takes it, and the dad just punishes him. God, it's horrible. And he
mhm.
grows up with that mentality, and he cuts off the family and all that. But if folks want to see other shows like that, I've seen the stories. Sorry, I've heard the stories from clients. Like, hey
Mhm,
man, it ain't good back home.
mm,
I'm worried about my siblings, or I'm worried about my moms, and some of them are trying to get their education to get moms out of there. Some of them are having conversations now with their parents about their drug or alcohol usage or their violence, volatility. Some were like, "Hey, man, we gonna take this person to court
mhm.
because the shit that has happened to you or others can't happen again." So the stories happen. Maybe not the
Yeah.
murdering stuff, Spence, but people standing up and
But yeah,
it happens. Um,
yeah. And kind of going along with that, one of the things that Fisk would have to do was just look at this white wall
yes.
as he was hearing his mom like getting beat. Like he would watch this white wall. He would just keep on watching it, and it's one of those things where in the Daredevil show, he actually buys this painting that
Yeah.
looks like that white wall, and so we see that in this scene where he's just sitting there and he's like, and he's looks very nervous, looks very like he's like barely holding back. anything. And he's looking at this white wall as he hears the same abuse happening through it. And as it's watching, like the wall is cracking, um, which I wonder if that maybe like his like anger or sanity's like ready just like to crack or
Yeah,
something.
it's like
Uh,
punching through the wall, it's coming through.
yeah, and then maybe that's the one thing that's like really holding him back from doing anything. And then we see Maya. She starts to kind of heal him, and tell him that, it's okay. You're my uncle. Let it go. Don't listen to it anymore. Let go of the anger and all that. Um,
It's
I
intense.
just thought it was a great scene. It was great metaphorically, and it was quick. It was a quick scene too.
It was.
Um, yes. Hopefully now, though, with the new Daredevil show coming out, hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that, and they keep up with that same pacing. Like if they had that little snippet and just expanded on it more into like the Daredevil show, I think it'll be just as good as the Netflix
Yeah,
show. But yes,
it was good. Before I forget,
yes,
I want you to talk about
yes.
him being the mayor or becoming the
Oh,
mayor.
yes.
Yeah, because I remember that from all the Spider-Man stuff. Um,
Yeah. So that's like one of the most like that's the thing about Fisk is like he's just power trip all the time. Like he will find a way to take over everything,
yeah,
right? And have like ultimate power. And I'm not sure about it in the comics or anything like that, but I think they said that Kingpin's going to be like the new Thanos when
yep,
it comes to like the street level
yep,
crime movies that are going to be happening at Marvel. So we'll finally get an interaction with Spider-Man because that Kingpin was one of Spider-Man's biggest
yep.
enemies there too, along with Daredevil. And so um, I'm excited for what they're about to do.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully
interesting
they do it right.
because it makes it look like, if he gets a healing, then now he becomes the mayor and he becomes a good guy. But we know he's getting ready to be like a horrific mobster because that's what he is, a mobster.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think like that's why he was like, "What did you do?" Because
Yep,
I don't think that worked. I don't think that healing worked. Um, I think maybe he had a little bit more of a sensitivity to Maya, because he helped raise her and everything. Because I thought he was about to snap her wrist. I think just be like,
yeah,
because he can do that. I've
yeah,
seen him do it.
yep,
Um, yeah. Uh, I guess one of my biggest issues with the show was that um, they made it seem like he like didn't they like when they had that scene where like, oh, he didn't learn sign language for
hmm,
me. I was like, that's kind of bullshit. He learned Mandarin for to like talk to crime bosses and stuff. Like he learns different languages. He
yeah,
does all of that. So I that's one thing about the character that I didn't really like is like, oh, he doesn't care about me at all. I'm just like a afterthought. When I'm like, I don't think he would do that in the other
in the
shows
other
and stuff
shows, he
like
probably
that.
would have learned it and then picked it up. I thought it was
Oh
weird
yeah,
too, because like he loves her to death,
yeah.
so why wouldn't he have learned it? I thought it was a
That's
weird
what I'm saying.
misstep, but
Yeah,
obviously they planted it there on purpose.
yeah.
Uh,
To have that
yeah, and
moment of
I
like,
knew that was
oh, you
coming.
don't care. Yeah,
I knew
I
that
know.
was coming because I was like, damn, bro, you didn't learn it. Everyone else learned it.
Even though I think that technology looked pretty cool, though.
It's dope.
Honestly, that was pretty dope. So
Oh, this is a
it
good
is what it
place
is.
maybe to talk about
Yeah.
is so if we're talking about affirming folks and being in an affirming environment or neuro
Mm,
affirming with folks that are anxious or neurodivergent that are ADHD, but specifically autism, is meeting them where they're at, not necessarily where the
mhm.
family's at. So like, hey man, you're gonna have to learn to talk. Like, motherfucker, I'm deaf. You're gonna have to learn to listen, motherfucker, I can't hear you. You're going to have to learn to read my lips. No, I want you to help me out with sign language. So this is
Sure.
affirming the individual and meeting their needs. It's not about your needs as the individual that is privileged and able-bodied. That's a very ableistic view is where you should come up to our standards. No, you need to come over to our standards. And so all the families buy in, right? The grandma said, hey, learn from my daughter. And she
Mhm.
said, now I keep it up and I got these things for my granddaughter. And he's like, oh, tell me about her.
Tell me about Maya.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing to talk about, ableism and how that looks in families where they don't, support the individual. And then where this, we're like, hey, we're all going to buy in, the entire family, aunts, uncles, nieces, cousins, we're all going to learn sign language for the kid because we love you and we're going to do our best.
Yeah.
They're teaching Colin's baby sign language now. They do it all the time with her. Yeah. All the time.
It's a great language to learn. It was something I actually wanted to pick back up before I even watched the show. Because it's just a lot of
cool.
people are actually starting to learn it again.
Yep, it is. I know a lot of people taking classes on it. I think it's really cool. Homeboy is teaching his kid. So we go into the scene where she gives him this healing, and she baptizes his ass. Whoop-ha. That to me, in a nutshell, is one of the greatest representations or visuals of therapy, specifically trauma therapy. You're taking an individual that's broken, shattered in some places. Just because something's broken, though, doesn't mean that it's ruined. Doesn't mean that it's garbage. Within those broken pieces, you find a lot of beauty in individuals. And so, right, she goes into the past and she's guiding him. Like, hey, man, listen, you can hear this stuff, but you really need to tune some of this out, or you need to calm down the rage. You need to allow this to kind of wash over you. You're being way, way, way too angry. I get it. And you want to murder this guy, but you don't have to become your father and become violent and lose all your innocence and your morals and your values. The goal is to be better than others. Well, I always got to be the better person. Well, I mean, do you want to be that person? Do you want to be that individual that's hurting your mother? So he's feeling a ton of pain. You see him shaking and being intense and the body sensations and flipping out. Ooh, boy, I've been there, boy. When you're full of that just rage and then you can't do anything and someone tells you to stop and then you just got to sit there in it and then he just starts bawling. I was like, that feeling. Him melting down here in the anger and the violence and the yelling. And I hate when people raise their voices. Like, I didn't realize that I was like sensitive to like loud noises, but also just like the intensity behind the vibrations in people's voices as they get elevated. I'm like, oh, he's fighting tones. Okay. Okay. Just where we're going now. So dude, I get really wound up, but I hold it all together. But you like the way Fish represented it is the way I feel inside when yelling starts. And rarely does yelling ever happen around me now. Right. But before it was like, Jesus Christ, man. And then there's a moment where she's helping him, guide him through that. She's trying to help him regulate his emotions. What a therapist would do, they would teach you grounding techniques and skills, or DBT, we call it, dialectical behavior therapy, to get you grounded. That way you're not hurting yourself or hurting anyone else. So we do this with a lot of folks with trauma histories and or pretty bad anxiety, but specifically autism. One of the great therapies for folks on the spectrum is to get you grounded, get you back down from a 10 to a 7. It's not just for suicidality. You can use it for a lot of different things to regulate yourself. So not only is she helping him regulate, she's kind of healing some of those wounds and allowing to experience some of the pain and sadness instead of just dipping right into rage and anger. Wonderful healing moment. But then this is where all my students are at and all my clients I've ever worked with. I'm not who you want me to be. And he screams it. I don't feel like screaming on the pod. I don't want to blow out anyone's ears right now. But I'm not who you want me to be. And the clients will look at me and, now you see this person and I'm not this person. Okay. Well, so tell me how you're not that person. You think that you're this, this, and this. I think you're a fucking idiot for saying that. They're like, hold on, thank you. Well, hey, you already called yourself like the biggest piece of shit on earth. I'm just calling you a dumbass for believing it. So, I mean, go fuck yourself. You ain't gonna come in my office fucking lying to me. You can send this shit somewhere else. I ain't got no time for you lying. Well, I believe it's true. Well, you're an idiot. So, I'll tell people who they are. I know, Spence, I'm an asshole. I tell you who you are. And then they'll be like, well, I don't believe it. And me and Spence just talked about this in our last pod that just released on the 15th, Dead to Me.
There you go.
Where they're like, hey, I'm the worst, and you've talked to friends, and right, and they're like, well, you got to be nice to me. I ain't got to be nice to you. So you go in there and you'll tell clients who they are, that they're strong, that they're kind, that they're more than their job, they're more than their partner. The individual the other day, I said, this is what you do. This is not who you are. This is simply a vocation, a career, a sport. You play football. It's not who you are. So you need to figure out who the fuck you are. What you are is a really good man, really good individual, really good person. And then you start going through all the identities and they're like, holy shit, I have a ton of value. I'm like, yeah, the shit. Who gives a fuck if you fail chemistry? Well, parents are going to be mad. Well, you know, they'll be disappointed. They'll be all right. They'll get over that shit. Life's long. There'll be a lot more disappointments. You'll disappoint them more.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Yeah, just listen to my father. I disappoint him every other day. So
every time.
Oh.
every time I can hear like the disappointment just coming. And then his head slowly deflates.
He just deflates. And clients really do want to believe that what you're saying is true as a therapist. And there's a difference between being someone's cheerleader and showing them the true and real versions of them, but tactically, cunningly, strategically. Because you're not just trying to gas them up. You're trying to get them to see it logically with data points. And it's wonderful too, because I'll go along with it, right? You know, because I'm a good manipulator. I'll go along with, oh yeah, you're stupid, huh? Oh, okay. Oh, and you're the worst, and you're ugly, or this is that, you know. Oh, okay. Oh, give me details on why you're stupid. Oh, okay. And then as the hour goes on, I'm like, look at here. I settle in. I put my big boy pants on there. Let me tell you something. And then that's when you start going in. So you said this, and this, that you have no worth, no value because of all these things. And you're like, let me tell you why that's bullshit. And how most of the things that you stated aren't really high value actually things. And these things are actually the most value. They can be like, oh, that's just your opinion. Is it? Because this is what people actually value. This is what people actually enjoy. This is what determines a good person or someone that does good works. So what he is doing in there and how he is acting is very interesting, because internally that's what's going on in therapy when you're trying to build up someone's identity or what we call ego strength. So that way when shit hits the fan, they still know who they are. But internally, they're always fighting against me, the therapist. And I already know it. I've been doing this fucking game a long time. I already know that you think I'm full of shit, but then I'm lying to you, or, you know, those things don't really matter in the real world. Okay. So it's a wonderful boxing match of punches and counter punches, ducking and weaving. It's interesting. So very common you see that. Mm-hmm. Now, as we transition into him like getting out of it and just being stuck and like shocked.
Yeah.
That's pretty common. Normally after a lot of my intakes, I'll take in all the information. Story time. I met someone the other day. And rarely will I ever say this. But I said to this person, I said, you know what? The world's fucking better to have you in it. And hopefully you stay around. And they're like, wow, thank you. And I said, people like you are the reason why I'm like, you know, maybe this world isn't so fucked up. And I said, I hear a lot of horrible stories, so my mind's a little polluted on the world. But if we had more people like you, it would be a good ass world. And, not rarely do I meet someone like you that cares so much. Now, if more people cared as much as you, or 50% as you, we'd be really good, homie. Really good. And I said, I know it's too much. And I said, it's a pleasure and it's an honor to meet you. Honor to meet you. And this wasn't one of those people where I was like, hey, man, you're kind and you're a better person than me. I'm like, you fucking really care about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. and are still willing to go there and to do work and to be active and an activist, and to take on all that vicarious trauma. I said, pretty privileged, and I'm also very selfish, and I have to shut it down because it's too much. It's too much to be reading all the news and to be caring about this, and this. It's too much. You can only take so much in. So some folks will not agree with that who hear this. And me and that client talked about that and how to navigate being privileged, but advocating and doing your role, but staying focused in what you're doing, but then also helping out over here. As a therapist, you can only do on so much. And, I do some things here and there for the community or socially, talking to others, educating. We do this podcast to educate others. We've done a lot of podcasts on specific Black and brown bodies, Black and brown identities. But I can't be me all the time because I'm already doing therapy with clients all the time. So then I got to go home and take on more trauma. Well, that doesn't work because now I'm not helping all these humans. So let me help these humans, and these sons of bitches will go out there and do some of this good work. It's a pyramid scheme.
Just trickle down.
It's trickle down. It's Reaganomics. Shout out Reagan.
Bring them back.
No shout out to Reagan. I'm sorry for that.
Well, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Hey,
where am I?
Where am I? And so I do meet some individuals. I'm like, holy shit, this person's about that fucking action. Coolest thing about that person is they said, my previous therapist was like, hey man, you're good. And the client was like, I'm not good. I'm not good. Stop saying I'm good. and I realized it. And I said, hey man, homie, you can simultaneously be okay and not okay at the same time. They said, you can? Like, yeah, you're doing it right now. Like, you're technically fine, but then also kind of traumatized about all the world events and all the activist stuff that you're doing within your dissertation. So, you can simultaneously be the same. And so you're always going to be going through it. So let's figure out strategically how to work through it. Going back to the show. Kingpin. Let's say that he legit got baptized by aliens. And he good.
Mm-hmm.
And becomes like a really good person. He's not going to. He's a piece of shit. But let's say he becomes a good person. You're always going to have that fucked up part of you and this other part too. They can both merge. I mean, right. I have clients that do it all the time. I do it all the time. What's up? I can see the mind twirling.
I just think that, the best bad guys are the ones that you go like you, in a way, you understand them.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said with Thanos, we always talk about him as an example, as a bad guy that we're just like, maybe he was right to do. Like some people agree with, like, hey, maybe he was right to kill half of everything.
Yep.
And that's the thing about Fisk is like we just see somebody who's traumatized, but yet they're a master manipulator, and they're using their trauma in a way to hurt people. Like this is not a good guy at all. But at the same time, he also makes you think, holy shit, this guy is so messed up.
Yep.
He's so messed up from what he had to go through. And those are the best. Those are the best that we can always, we can always kind of go around. Yeah, we can relate to it. And then also we can also in some ways want to aspire, because all those guys they go up and they're the best at what they do.
Yeah.
Right. Like he's trying to be the mayor again.
Yeah.
So the only person that stopped him was Daredevil and his friends.
Yeah.
So that was it. A ginger and a chubby dude.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
It is what it is.
To preference that, not everyone that goes to a very small percentage of folks that go through trauma end up becoming like this malicious. No one really comes that malicious. True. Some folks do. A lot of folks do. A lot of black and brown bodies that grow up in a lot of fucked up shit are angry. We don't even know why the fuck we're angry. We're just angry. So there's a lot of generational trauma in that. I'm sure if you go back and you turn the page, you'll see that his dad probably got beat to shit. His dad probably got beat to even worse, right? The previous dad for that got killed. I don't know how he had kids, but he still got killed. You know,
Mm.
Go figure that. That's the metaverse. We're in the metaverse now. It's the natives in the metaverse with a white guy. Never trust white people around natives. That's key to the story.
You're just keeping it going, huh? You're just keeping it
I'm
going.
just saying.
Yeah. Conspiracy.
Colonizing motherfucker. Ooh, they had a word. I'm sorry for
white people.
Yeah, they had for white people. I'm sorry for yeah. Damn, what was that word? He said it when they.
I have no idea. Mr. Biscuit
said it when
he
he was in the truck. He's like, man, these fucking goombas. Oh my god, Spencer. Someone started dancing the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, you look like a fucking Goomba from Super Mario Brothers. And she's like, I know what that is, you asshole. I'm not fucking Goomba. She said when she's at the pub, she always has resting bitch face and she just kind of sways back and forth. I'm like, you're a fucking Goomba.
Jeez. Way to call somebody a Goomba.
I know. She's like, I pay you for this? I was like, yep.
Yep.
What's the word?
Can't find it, but I can't find it.
Okay.
But it's
infidel.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, so not many folks, barely any, will go to that extreme, but you will see it with people with that trauma history, right? Sometimes the wires get crossed and you do end up becoming the bad guy, the person that hurt you. You'll see it with emotional, physical, sexual, verbal abuse. You'll see it. People will end up echoing it out throughout the generations, and it's pretty fucked up. So that was a lot of the things that we wanted to talk about. I think that's the thing that sticks out the most for me is how much I related to him in that moment when you're just getting that healing and someone is breaking you down and making you sit in the emotions and you're just like, I don't want to fucking be here anymore. Let me go. He's like, no, you're going to sit here. I'm like, I'm going to kill everyone in this office if you don't let me go. And they're like, we love you, Nazir. I'm like, fuck you. I don't want your fucking love. Piece of shit. I know. They're just like, calm down. You just hurt little boy.
Yes, you hairy little boy.
Yeah.
You.
Little fucking hornswoggle from WWE.
Of course.
So been there. And therapy for a lot of people is that where it's tough. I'll finish with this is everyone thinks that therapy is weakness. Fucking cojones on some of the people that come in my office and go through the shit that I put them through. And hey, you want me to moving forward? You want me to hit the brakes? You know, I could let out the gas. You know what I'm saying? They're like, no, this is good. My old therapist would just sit there and be like, I validate your feelings.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying. And I said, let me guess. It was a white woman, wasn't it? I looked at the kid. I said, they're the worst. I said, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, with that.
Hey, let's wrap it up. Let's keep it tight.
Yeah.
No pregnancies.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Go watch Echo and Res Dogs. Great shows. Go check out our merch. Go check out all of our great collaborators in the description down below. You can get up to 20% off. And we have another one that we're going to be adding soon. But just you wait for that ad because it's a coming. So, yes. Thank you for watching once again. I'm Spencer. That's nice. This is a Different Spectrums podcast.
All right, everyone. Toodles and much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or down.
And that's up to you. Okay.
God, every time you almost forget every time.
Oh, I remember. Toodles. I remember. I was getting there. I like the foreplay. I like this
I
slowly.
don't like you.
All right, bye.